Right then, so welcome to Friday night is Onion Night, of course, the home of the Giant Onion Growing Challenge, where I set a challenge to grow the giant onions, Elsay, from Foster Seeds. I invited people to join in and join along and grow along. And Friday nights, I do a little update of how I'm getting on with my onions. And also at the end, we do onion news, where I have a little catch up with everybody else who's taken part and have put up videos or sent me photographs to show how they're getting on. And if you'd like to take part, it's not too late. You can go along to Foster Seeds on their website, pick up a packet of their Elsay onions and grow along with us if you would like to. And there are two parts to the challenge. One, growing with grow lights for the really big ones, or if you haven't got grow lights, you could just get a packet, grow without grow lights, and you'll still get some great onions because of the variety we're using. It's all a bit of fun, and just to see how well we can do and what we can get up to. Now, tonight, I'm going to be potting on my seedlings. These are now at 3 weeks, 21 days, and ready to pot on. Now, this is just the way I do it, and at the stage that I do it. You know, I'm no expert, I'm just trying to get better and learn along the way. So what I'm going to do is, these are 7 centimeter pots. I'm going to prick them out. I'm going to put them in this bowl of water just to keep the roots damp. I'm going to select out the best 20, and then I'm going to put them on into 9 centimeter pots. And I got 20 of those pots, and I'll show you that bit in a minute. Now, initially, when I planted these, I may have said that putting a heat mat underneath them doesn't make that much difference. Well, I was wrong. It does, or it has done in my case. These here, as you can see, they had heat underneath them, and the heat mat was set at 21 degrees, and they are a little bit further on than these that had no heat and were just grown in my kitchen at around about 18 degrees. All right, so a bit of heat underneath, I found, does make a difference. And in these rows, 3 different ones, I tried 3 different types of, not 3 different types of seed starter mix, but I did one lot with just the compost, and I used the Clover Professional seed and module. So one had just the compost. That had compost with 1 part vermiculite and, no, that's right, compost and 2 parts vermiculite, and one with 2 parts compost, 1 of vermiculite, and 1 of perlite. And out of all those, there doesn't seem to be much difference, if I'm honest. In fact, I would say just the straight compost seems to have produced the best ones. So they were the ones on heat. I'm only looking for 20. So what I'm going to do initially is pick out the ones looking the best, and I'm going for how thick the stem are and the first true leaves initially, and then we'll be looking at roots. So we'll pick some of these out. I'll finish doing that and we'll get back to you. Right, so I've picked out those 10 just visually. I'm just going on the height, the strength, how well they're looking, and I've picked those out, put them in there, and in a minute we'll turn those out and have a look at the roots, and then I'll put them into this bowl of water to keep the roots moist just before I pot them on. All this has been cleaned, and this is rainwater, and this water is at the same temperature as my grow room, and I've been trying to keep this grow room round about 18 degrees. I've also got some in here that I grew just broadcast, and I'd imagine a lot of people will have done it like this, so I thought I'll tip this lot out and we'll have a look at these. Now, I already know that I put these in too deep a pot, I'm feeling, because they're only 3 weeks old, but we've already got roots coming out the bottom. Now, I've just put a black bin liner down on the table so I don't make a mess. And I've got my bucket there ready to discard things in. So we'll tip these out and see what we got. This is probably the most difficult part, and where individual little containers make life easy. So I put that there nice and gently, and the ones at the side seem to be looking good, so I'm just going to tease this apart and quietly get the roots out. They have gone right to the bottom of the pot, and there's some cracking looking roots in here. It's a bit fiddly. Now, I think this is the issue with having them in too deep a pot. You see that one's gone right to the bottom. I think if it was in a shorter pot, they would have curled up around a bit, but that's still quite a nice looking set of roots on there. So we'll stick that one in there. Just tease them out. Yeah, that one. This is one of those jobs that you just got to take your time, go steady. There's a nice lot of roots on that. If I put it on the table, can you see that? Right. Any more? I'll just tease them apart and see what we got. Any I don't feel up to it, they'll just get discarded. Now, I think out of this lot, that's going to be the better ones out of this particular batch. I'm feeling the ones in the individual pots will probably do better. So I'll clear this away, maybe put that one in. Actually, that one done looks good now it's in the water. This is so difficult picking, but we'll have 20, so we'll be okay. Right, I'll clear this away, then we'll take a look at these. Okay then, so that's those done in there, just a few in there. These are by far the better ones, so these will be the ones I really want to keep an eye on. And having them in the 7cm pots makes doing this really easy. I mean, that wasn't too difficult, to be honest. And onions take to transplanting quite easily. So it'd be interesting to see the roots where they've just been in the individual pots. Right, there's the roots on that. It's got beginnings of a quite thick little bulb, nice roots. So I'm really pleased with these. And that's not the best one. So there again, just in the water. And I'll just keep tipping them out. Now, you might be thinking, why not just pot this, the whole cell into a bigger pot. I guess you could do that. You know, there again, I don't know if I'm doing right, if I should have potted those directly in. Please let me know. But my sort of thinking is that they were in this seedling mix, which is quite low on nutrients, and they'll be going into a different mix now, and I'll talk about that in a minute and what I'm using, because I'm doing it, or I'm trying to follow Keith Foster's technique of doing it, and he uses a product called BioBiz All Mix, and I'll show you perhaps a picture of that bag. See, these in the individual pots, they're looking lovely, and the bulbs are a little bit bigger. Cracking roots on these. Right then, I'll carry on just tipping these out, nice and straightforward, and bring you back to potting them on, and we'll have a little chat about, well, that's a particularly nice one, what I'm doing with the lights moving forward. Up until now, see that one, not as good on the roots, nowhere near, but we'll pop it in. Up until now, these have been on 16 hours of light at about 40% of the power of the lights. And after this, oh, this is a beauty. Look at that. That's the ones we're after. Fantastic. That's got a nice bulb, not too long here, nice roots. Fantastic. Well, I think they're fantastic anyway. And one thing Keith did say is, if they're not looking good, forget about it. You've got to pick your best ones, be brutal, and I'll be putting these on into 20 more pots, and I'm looking to end up with 10 to 15 good onions moving forward. Right, I'll finish this and we'll come back to potting them on. Okay, so we've got our 9cm pots and our selected seedlings. Like I say, I'm using the BioBiz All Mix. It's recommended by Keith Foster. This has been in this room for a while, so it was up to the same temperature, around about 18 degrees. When I put it into the pots, I thought it was a little bit dry, so these have been soaking in rainwater. There again, I keep the water in the shed, so it's the same temperature, just to soak it up and get it a bit wet. And this method of picking them out and putting them just in a little bowl like this, I picked up from Chris Evans, who, funnily enough, he's literally just started doing videos again. He's an absolute top grower, you know, winning at Malvern and county level is fantastic. And I'll put a link to Chris's channel in the description. If you're into growing quality veg, the bigger onions, the heavy onions, things like that, he's a wealth of knowledge, and he's been a brilliant help to me in the past. In fact, if any of you have got my Joe Atherton seeds, Chris gifted me the original Joe Atherton seeds 2 years ago. He's just brilliant. So I hope you're watching, Chris, and thanks for all your help. And if you've got any tips for us growing these Elsay onions, it'd be great if you could help us out in any way. So all I'm using to do this is just a bit of twig or a bit of stick. I've just cut a little square on the end of it. Make myself a nice big hole, because some of these roots are pretty impressive. Then pick them up, and the beauty of the stick, you can tease the roots in and your hands, you know, away from it. And I'm putting it just down to where the stem goes from white to green. So literally the top of the green bit, and just firming it down. Move that one out of the way so it's not in. So that's all I'm doing. Nice big hole, make room for the roots. And there again, this is just what I've seen and what I've picked up. And if anybody's got any better ways of doing this, please let me know. I'm really pleased with these, I must admit. One thing I did sort of pick up on when I was pulling these out, the ones that were sat a little bit deeper in the compost seem to have better formed bulbs at the bottom. Square that up a bit, if that makes sense. The ones that were quite shallow on the surface aren't looking so good. So I think next year I may plant them a little bit deeper, just a little bit. I think that has, well, I could see a difference, put it like that. So straightforward as that. There we go. Looking lovely. Now, these will go back under the grow lights, and in accordance there again with what Keith said, they'll be going, he says put it up to 24/7. Now these have been on 16, so I'm not too sure whether to go straight to 24/7, or because I've just potted them on, I think what I'll do is up it by 2 hours a day. Probably no need, but in my head, it just sort of gets them used to that extra bit of light. Now they have got a fan in the grow tent, and I've got that set to run for 15 minutes every hour, just to help the breeze go along, help strengthen the roots, and keep any mold or fungus from growing around the top, and try and keep the fungus gnats down as well. And I never leave any open water. I'll take them out, I'll soak them, then I'll put them back into, I have like a soaking tray if you like. I put them in the soaking tray, let them soak up and get watered, then I take them out of that and discard the water outside. So I haven't got any standing water in the grow area, because I read somewhere or saw somewhere that standing water helps to helps us, well, the fungus gnats like it. So that's what I am doing. And I'll also probably put up some of those yellow fungus gnat traps, the sticky traps, just in case. So simple as that. I'll crack on and do these, and I'll bring you back when they're back in the grow tent. Okay. Right, so there they go. 20 plants back in the grow tent. I have increased the light intensity, and I've increased that to, using the power meter, up to around about 700, 750 ppfd, and I've also increased the time to 18 hours now, and then I'll gradually put that up 2 hours a day till they're up to 24. I have just put a bit of fine vermiculite over the top to help reduce the drying out, and I wouldn't want the compost to skin over. I don't know if I mentioned, but all those pots had been washed out. I know a lot of people will say there's no need, but if it's done, isn't it? There's never going to be a problem. All right, so there they go. That's them. Oh, the spectrum of these lights I've also changed from seedling up to vegetative, and I will go over these Vivasone lights in a separate video, because the more I use them, I just think they're brilliant and well worth the investment. Right, so that's them all potted up. We'll go on and take a look at onion news and see what everybody else is up to. Right then, so that's them potted up, and time for onion news. I'll just show you what I used, and it's this. It's BioBiz All Mix, and it's what Keith Foster uses, and it's what he recommends in his little pamphlet that he did for growing onions, and I got hold of a copy of that. So I'm just trying to grow as Keith suggested. So that's that, and the BioBiz should be good for feed for about 2 weeks, and then after that I'm going to be using this BioBiz BioGrow. It's a liquid feed that we put in with the water, so I'll be using that there again, just in the same way as Keith does it. So it better work, Keith. You could also use, a lot of people use a liquid seaweed mix, something like that. All right, so that's that, just so you know what I'm up to. So time for onion news, where we have a little catch up of new contestants and what other people have been up to. And if you want a video featured or anything like that, or you've done an update, you can either email me a photo if you haven't got a channel, or if you, any videos you do, if you hashtag them GOGC2526, and then I can add them to the playlist that's on my channel. So if anybody wants to go and have a look at what other people are doing, the whole playlist is there on my channel. Another really good way is to actually tag me in the video, just at Patronouth. That way I get notified that you've uploaded, and rather than me having to go and look for it, it just makes life a bit easier. So let's get on. Now, before I start, onion news. Do you lot enjoy onion news? I mean, I just think it's nice to highlight other people and what they're doing, and for you all to sort of see what other people are doing every week. But, you know, I'm just looking to do the best job I can and make it as interesting for you as I can. And I'll try, I think what I'm going to do is try and keep onion news a little bit shorter, just so you're not hanging around for ages. All right, let's get on with it. New people. William Robertson, he's joining in. Paul Nicola, he's joining in. And Danny Kerish, he's joining in. So thanks for taking part. I do appreciate it. You know, the more people that take part, the more interesting it is. Sean the gardener, I met over Nan Stallen. He's now potted his into 3-inch pots. Steve's allotment northeast, he's got his sown. He was kindly gifted some by Deb's veg plot, so thanks for that, Deb's. And I think he's also got some coming from Foster's, and he's going to have a few more a bit later on. Now, I said earlier we're doing with grow lights and without grow lights, and I'm going to be sowing some without grow lights this weekend. I know a lot of people have already actually sown them, so I thought what I would do, I'm going to sow some at the end of each month, every month, until the end of January, and just see if the timing of the no lights makes a lot of difference to their growth. Now, I appreciate I'm down in the south, so my weather conditions are a bit warmer than a lot of you, but I just thought that would be interesting to see the different months, how they perform. All right, so that's up and coming. Jen, plot 13, she was last year's winner, and she's just done a great video on her 21-day update and potting on. Jen puts a lot of detail and a lot of effort into her videos, and they come across really well, and she really is quite meticulous on how she does things, so it's a great one to watch. There again in the playlist. Mark, Gang and Peanut, he's got his up and running. He's transplanted some of his, and he's transplanted them into some of those green clear seed trays, the bit deeper ones, so you can have a look at the roots. So that'll be interesting to well, just for him to have a look at, see the roots develop in through that clear plastic. Deb's veg plot, got hers sown. She'll be no lights as well, so thanks for posting that one up, Debs. Debbie Grows a Love literally just sent me an email with some photographs. She's over on Instagram. She's got hers sown, and she's also bought some new grow lights this year, and she's gone for the Vivison ones, the same ones that I got this year as an upgrade to my old fluorescents. And I've got to say, the more I use them, the more I understand the control box and the monitoring and what you can do and how you can keep an eye on everything. I just think they're brilliant. I really do. But I'll do a separate video on them. International news, Steve, the chili prepper over in Colorado, he's got germination, got really good germination. So I hope somebody over in America or Canada can actually get some all the way through and have some in a way. Ali, My Rusty Gardens, finally got her seed over in Canada after a postal strike, so I'm sure she'll be up and sowing fairly soon. Right, well that's it. Like I said, I'm going to try and keep that a little bit shorter, so I know your time is precious. I do hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for everybody for joining in and making this such a great project and such a great challenge to run. And let's hope somebody can get one of these onions to £10 this year. Right, thanks for watching. Cheers and go on.